Om. Om. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu me Sada. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramanandamadhavam Paramanandamadhavam. Okay, so we are on chapter 5, Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Let's read the verses we covered and then we will review and go forward. Arjuna Uvacha Sannyasam Karmanam Krishna Punaryogam cha shamsasi Yatreya etayorekam Tanme bruhi sunishchitam. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sannyasa Karma Yogascha Nishreyasa Karabhubhau Tayostu Karma Sannyasat Karma Yogo Vishishyate. Nyeyasa Nitya Sannyasi Yo Nadveshti na Kankshati Nirdvandvo hi Mahabaho Sukham Bandhat Pramuchyate. Sankhya Yoga Pratak Palaha Pravadanti na Panditaha Ekamapyastita Samyak Ubhayor Vindate Phalam. Okay, so I'm just going to review some things because there were some questions last week which I want to address, right? So this Karma Sannyasa Yoga, sannyas means renunciation, renunciation of action. So the yoga of renunciation of action. So this chapter, as we saw last week, Arjuna opens with a question. You had said, right, that Karma Yoga leads to Jnana Yoga in chapter 2. Karma Yoga leads to Sankhya Yoga, or another name for Jnana Yoga, Sankhya Yoga. But then now what I'm seeing is in chapter 4, it seems that there's another path there. It's not just Karma Yoga that can give us Jnana Yoga or that can lead to Jnana Yoga, not just the path of action that can lead to knowledge, but also there's Karma Sannyasa. Karma Sannyasa, which is renunciation of action that can lead to knowledge. So two things can lead to knowledge. One is Karma Yoga, performance of action, selfless action dedicated to a higher cause. Second is Karma Sannyasa, renunciation of action. Both of these can lead to knowledge, jnana. Now, of these two, which should I take? This is Arjuna's question. And what was Sri Krishna's answer? He says, both of them, in verse 2, he says, both of them, sannyasa, karma sannyasa, and karma yoga, Nishreyasa karau ubhau. Both of them can lead to the attainment of knowledge and eventually moksha, liberation. But of the two, Arjuna, for you, Karma Yoga is better. Why is Karma Yoga better? Because in verse 3, he said, the Karma Yogi is called Nitya Sannyasi. The Karma Yogi is a perpetual sannyasi because the Karma Yogi goes through a lot of purification process in their daily life, and they develop these values which one will need in Karma Sannyasa. What are these values? Nadveshti nakangshati, not having any hatred, not having any attraction. Basically, no dislikes, no likes, right? Very minimum, very minimum. It's impossible to be without likes and dislikes. So for the Karma Yogi, the likes and dislikes are reduced, and also nirdvandvaha means they become equanimous. And these are the very qualities that are needed in karma sannyas. So this is what we saw last week. Now let's just have an overview here in Sanatana Dharma, right? So in Hinduism, it's called Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma literally means eternal dharma or eternal truth. And this Sanatana Dharma consists of certain values that are to be upheld in all societies, all places and all times, from all backgrounds. And these values are rooted in oneness, right? The fact that when I see you and me are one, then I will practice certain values like nonviolence, truthfulness, compassion, and all these are based on the oneness that I see in you or that you see in me. So Sanatana's Dharma's basis is this oneness and the practice of all the values that reflect or express that oneness. So the ideal is to realize that oneness in and through all beings, living and non-living. So how is that done? So Sanatana Dharma said, let us envision these 4 ashramas, right? Brahmacharya, then Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. Brahmacharya means the path of a studentship. Grahastha, the path of a householder, the ashram of a householder. Then Vanaprastha, the one of a retiree. Literally, it means the one who dwells in the forest. And Sannyasa, the path of the renunciate. And all of these are what we call ashramas. Ashrama means it's a sacred place to learn the truth. So Grahastha is called ashrama. Brahmacharya is called ashrama. Vanaprastha is called ashrama. Sannyas, ashrama. And so the natural methodology our Shastras have prescribed is go through all of it. From a student life, go through the whole student life. The basis of that is to really form character. The basis of brahmacharya, the purpose is to form character, and how the vision is extremely beautiful, because what makes the formation of character is not just studying in school. And that's why we had Gurukula, because the student had to see in their guru all of these values alive. And through that inspiration, the student becomes keen to live those values in themselves. And that was Brahmacharya Ashram. It's about the formation of characters by living with a guru so that we can see how amazing they are and be inspired to live in that way. Then upon graduating from Gurukula, right, then one would take up to a householder life. And now then there'd be an option, right? If you want to take up householder life, fine. If you don't want, that's also okay. And this was seen in the Vedic society for both men and women. Some people did not want to take up householder life because they wanted to pursue studies in a deeper way. And so there was a path for them. Some wanted to take householder life because they wanted to have a family, they wanted to have children, they had these desires. So totally okay. right? Then after that, then they come into retired life when their children have grown up already. And it is said in our Shastra that once you see the face of your grandchild, then you can enter Vanaprastha very, very succinctly and peacefully. Because otherwise, the householder will constantly be thinking, what will I do with my children? Are they getting married? Are they not getting married? Are they settling down? When are they having grandchildren? I should be there when they have the grandchild, because they don't know how to, it will be totally new for them. Constantly, the mind will go back and forth, that we should be there for our children's wedding, because we have to invite all the people who invited us for their children's wedding. We have to be there when they deliver a child. So constantly the mind will be there. It won't be completely be able to be immersed in spirituality. All these things will be there. So when the grahastha sees now the face of their grandchild, then they feel like, okay, now we can peacefully withdraw and step back without any worry, because the grahasthas, they now feel that their children are well settled. There's people to care for them, there's people to be there for them. They can withdraw, and in that vanaprastha, then when the mind has that ability to rest, then pursue this knowledge to a deeper extent. Whatever knowledge we're learning now, pursue it to a deeper extent. And then if one wants to take up sannyasa and formally renounce, right, that is also allowed. That's also allowed. One can actually take up sannyasa formally and live, however they live, in society, or sitting in silence, sharing knowledge, however it is they want to live. Well, this was seen for all in Yajnavalkyaji's story in the Upanishads, in that section in the Upanishads. He also took sannyasa, but a different kind of sannyasa. And his wife also took sannyasa. Not formally though, but she left everything. So this was the kind of life envisioned, because Sanatana Dharma's basis or foundation is the realization of truth. There is no other ultimate purpose in life. So the whole life in our Shastras is made this way. It's made for people to realize. It's made for people to realize. So if one follows it, then one will be able to realize here and now. Then, so this is one kind of path that one may follow. This path will be for the karma yogis. Now, the next path is called sannyasa. What is this sannyasa? Sannyas. San means totally. Sam, it's actually some, becomes sun, totally. Ni means down, as means to throw. So actually sannyasa is the throwing down. Throwing down meaning the letting go of everything to solely focus on the spiritual path, to solely focus on Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasana. When does a person take up this sannyasa? Either from brahmacharya itself, the person goes straight to sannyasa, or from grahastha. Sometimes what happens in grahastha, ashrama, and the householder life, somebody loses a spouse, something doesn't, something happens, and they are able then to have that ability to let go or to leave. So from grahastha, they take up sannyasa itself. And some from vanaprastha, they go into sannyasa. And the sannyasa that's being talked about here is a formal renunciation called Dividisha sannyasa, means the renunciation of a seeker. When one dons the orange robes, so they do this Viraja Homa, and they utter these sannyasa mantras, and they actually don orange robes, and then their lives are not fully participating in action, but renouncing from action in a way so that they can just completely focus on the realization of truth with nothing else on their mind. They don't have to go to any party or social obligation, or they don't have to appear in society for this reason or for that reason. They can just focus on the truth, and that's completely fine. And they are given now these orange robes because it's a symbol. Kashaya vastra. It's a symbol. What is a symbol? It is a symbol that, like the sun, first it's when it's up in the sky, it's yellow, and when it sets, it's orange. When the sun rises, it's orange. When it sets, it's orange. It's a deep, deep, deep orange. That means a sannyasi has to be absolutely steady and balanced amidst all circumstances, whether there's rising or decreasing, rising or setting of anything, taking, giving, having, not having. Whatever circumstance, that sannyasi is to be balanced. And it also symbolizes that their life is for the setting of knowledge, like the setting of sun. Sun symbolizes knowledge, the setting of knowledge. And that orange also is a color of tapasya. It's tapasya because fire is orange. So it is also the ashrama where they focus on letting go of impurities. How? Through the practice of intense austerity or tapasya. So fire is heat. So when one practices a lot of intense tapasya, all these impurities which serve as obstacles in our lives, they are burnt. So when we say karma sannyasa or karma sannyasi, the one who has taken karma sannyasa, we mean this one, this Vividisha sannyasi, who has taken the orange robes, whose life is just focused on Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. Right? So this is what we have. Karma yogi, karma sannyasi. Now, in the karma sannyasi category, there is a path from brahmacharya to sannyas. So I will share with you from Chinmay Mission because that's our background. Very, very beautifully, before one takes sannyas, one has to go through Naishtika brahmacharya. Means one has to go through the whole brahmacharya for about 10 to 15 years and practice celibacy, practice austerity, practice all of these things so that they are completely ready to get into sannyas. It's not a sudden thing. It's actually a very, very beautiful thing that Gurudev has conceived of so that one can be completely ready for sannyasa. Because we will see sannyasa is not easy life. Then there is also something called Vidvat sannyas. Vidvat sannyas means that somebody who has taken the orange robes, who's taken that life of seeking, once they realize the truth, or when they realize the truth, they can take up another kind of sannyas where they can wish to just be completely away from society and just revel in the truth. That Vidvat sannyasa is renunciation now, the knower. They can completely, this is the one who has knowledge, and they can just revel in the truth like Swami Tapovan Maharaj. Okay, so these are the gradations. So for this chapter, what are we focusing on? Somebody who takes the path of karma yoga and somebody who takes the path of karma sannyasa. Both paths are possible to gain knowledge. Now, one more thing I'll share with you that, when I was there I went to one of our ashrams in SIF, Chinmay International Foundation. It was years ago. I had talked to a brahmachari there. And I said, what is the difference, right? Why would one take to householder life and why would one take up sannyas? And he gave me this very beautiful example. He said, when you take up householder life, it's like taking a train. And when you take up the life of sannyasa, it's like taking an airplane. let's say both are going to the same destination, Chennai to Delhi, let's say. So one can take a train. Why take a train? Because it's a scenic route. It's a scenic route and it's nice. You know, you get to different stops, and in different stops, there's different things you need to get. In one stop, you need to buy kachori. In another stop, you'll need to buy the oranges are very good. And then in another stop, the mangoes are very good. So some like the train journey because there are stops. It's a very scenic route. You have the liberty to get down and discover other places, see what's there, see what's happening, and you have the ability to get back on also if you're in time for the train. And so it's nice, right? And so many people are there on the train, so many things. You can sing bhajans, you can sing stotras, you can walk here and there. Very beautiful. The plane tends to be no stop. Let's say plane non-stop, Chennai to Delhi. No stop. You're not taking a scenic route. All you're seeing is clouds. Clouds in the sky. That's all you're seeing, nothing else. And you're just going directly there. And it tends to be more quiet in the plane. You can't really move around as much as in the train. You can move around quite a bit in the train. In the plane, you can't really move around as much. You're buckled into a seatbelt and you sit there. And that's it. You sit there and you go and you take off, and next thing you know, you land. So it's a very straight, non-stop path. But both are going the same. Both will get you to the same destination. So both will get us to the pursuit of knowledge. But one is the train and one is the plane. So then I looked at him and he said, but you have to be careful. He told me, he said, you have to be careful because when you take the train, if you get into an accident, then it's not so bad. It's not so bad, you know, because like it's very big and bulky and you can get back and go your way. But if a plane crashes, that's very bad. Very, very hard to get back up when the plane crashes. So he said, this is the difference. So path of Karma Yoga is for one who also still wants to see what's there in the world. Path of Karma Yoga will have many more stops and it is safer. It's safer. It's safer because one has time to really prepare and mature themselves. The path of Karma Sannyas, no doubt it will be quicker and non-stop, but it's more dangerous. Kshurasya dhara, it is said in Kathopanishad. It's like walking a razor's edge. So therefore, there are these two things, Karma Yoga and Karma Sannyasa. This was Arjuna's question. This was Arjuna's question. How many times Lord Krishna said, take Karma Yoga, take Karma Yoga, take Karma Yoga. But still, as we said, Arjuna has this fascination for sannyas. He still has inside this fascination to run away from the battlefield. So again, Bhagavan Krishna wants to bring him back and says, for you, Arjuna, there are still lingering desires there. There's still a fascination there. There's still a greater degree of vasanas there. So take up Karma Yoga. I shared this also last time. You know, sometimes people come up and ask, now what should we do? Should we get married or should we take up the path of sannyasa? If there is a doubt, get married. Get married. Better get married. Because don't think of sannyasa. That will bother. That's the worst thing that can happen. That there is a doubt that I should have gotten married. I should have had children. That's the worst thing that can happen. If there is a doubt, fully get married, fully have children, fully become grandparents and experience life. And that you will also feel ready. You will also feel ready. And this is what Sri Krishna says, that Arjuna, take up Karma Yoga. And in Karma Yoga, you can become like a Nitya Sannyasi. because you prepare yourself so well for karma sannyasa that in the marriage, beautiful environment of marriage and having children, as I shared last week, that one develops all of these qualities to be free from likes and dislikes, to be equanimous, because in marriage, in a family, one really has to put themselves aside for the greater good of the family. That is a big lesson that one learns. We constantly have to sacrifice our own ego, our own ahankar for the sake of the family. We have to look past what we want to do, where we want to go for the sake of the family. And so one can start practicing to be a sannyasi in Grihastha life itself. Then now we came to verse number 4, and this, this needs more explanation. So little explanation I gave last time, but now we will go deeper into this verse. So we are now exploring verse 4. What does he say here? Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga. So here the word Sankhya is to be understood as karma sannyas. Karma sannyas. How is it karma sannyas? Sankhya means Upanishad. Sankhya means the path of knowledge, as we saw in chapter 2. Knowledge. Here, Sankhya means the path that takes you to knowledge is also called Sankhya. So the path that takes you to knowledge here is called Sankhya, which is karma sannyas. Okay, so karma sannyas and karma yoga. So there are two things, karma sannyas and karma yoga. Pritag balaha, the one who thinks they are different, are balaha. They are immature. They are like childlike. Pravadanti, they speak of it being different, but panditaha, the wise, do not say so. Why? Ekam api astitaha. When one gets established, astitaha means when one gets established in one, sambyak, very well, when one gets established in one, ubhayo vindate phalam, one obtains the fruit of both. So what does this mean? A question arises that if this is to be performed by two different kinds of people, right? There's karma yoga and karma sannyasa. And if it is to be performed by two different kinds of people, how is it that they both can lead to knowledge? Karma yoga is a different kind of person. Karma sannyasa is a different kind of person. How is it that they can both lead to knowledge? And so here, what Sri Krishna is saying is, if we perform it perfectly, both can lead to purity of mind, and this purity of mind can then lead to the attainment of knowledge. So what does one have to do? Take up karma yoga or take up karma sannyasa and perform it perfectly. This is the samyak astitaha. How do we perform it perfectly? When we perform karma yoga perfectly, what does this look like? See, let's take, for example, any action, right? Any action, performing it perfectly in the spirit of karma yoga. What does that look like? I have to look at number 1, the purpose of my action. What is the purpose of my action? Is it for the realization of truth? Is it for self-development? Or is it for self-enjoyment? This is my intention. This is the first thing I have to see. So a very simple example, I'm eating. Am I eating for my pleasure? Or am I eating because I want this body to be healthy so that I can serve Bhagavan, I can serve the Lord, I can serve society? Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi. One meaning of Brahmarpanam we saw there, right? So why am I eating food? Now, if I'm eating for the attainment of pleasure, because I want this pani puri or kachori or whatever, and I just want to taste it, I've lost it there. I've lost it already there. So karma yoga is not easy. Please know that even this path of karma yoga is not easy. Why am I exercising? Am I exercising because I want to fit in that kurta or that sari for this upcoming wedding? Or am I exercising and keeping healthy so that maybe I can sit and meditate and be free from any aches and pains? Huh? So the first thing I have to see in karma yoga is, what is my intention? Is my intention for myself, or is my intention for God, for the world, for totality? The second point I have to see is in karma yoga is, am I able to surrender my action? When I'm performing my action, am I sincerely able to say, Bhagavan, whatever happens, I'll be okay with it? Is there surrender in my action, or is there insistence? This is the second point I have to see. So insistence is, I'm performing this action, Bhagavan, I hope it happens like this, and please make it happen like this, and please also add this and that to it, and this is what you give me. Or is there surrender that, whatever it is, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Huh? So what is it when we raise children? Is there surrender that I'm going to do my best to nurture, to nourish this child, to help this child to grow and evolve, and whatever happens, I offer to you? Or is it, I want my child to be like this? Or worse, I want my child to be like me. What is there? So first point of karma yoga, what is my intention to perform it perfectly? And the second point is, am I able to surrender it? Am I able to surrender it? And the third point is, am I able to stay equanimous through it? Right? Because in the second point, I might say I surrender it, but when it really happens, I'm disturbed. I surrendered it, but Bhagavan, why did you give me this? Am I able to stay equanimous through it? This is the nirdvana. Or am I disturbed? So to perform karma yoga perfectly is not an easy feat. It's not. We say karma yoga is the foundation, but only a strong person can be perfectly established. Then what does it mean to perform karma sannyasa perfectly? What it means to perform karma sannyasa perfectly is, number one, do I have that intense focus to take this up, shravanam, mananam, and nididhyasanam, without being distracted by unnecessary things, unnecessary events, unnecessary chatter, gossip, etc. Am I able to sincerely focus on that? That's number one. Number two, to be in the path of karma sannyasa, are my desires thinned out? Because if one still has desire for the world, for name, for fame, for pleasure, for all of these things, one should not be on the path of karma sannyasa. And number three is, have I let go of my life? Have I completely let go that whatever is to happen will happen? Or do I insist that it should be this way? Or I want to go here, I want to go there. Have I let go? This person only who's able to focus, who's able to remain free from distractions, who's able to let go of their life, this person can enter karma sannyasa. One of the most beautiful things, I think, is that in this path, even when we take brahmacharya diksha, we don't know our name and we don't know where we're going to go until that very last day. That very last day on stage, then Guruji will say, this is your name and this is where you have to go. And I found that practice so beautiful, because you have no choice. You have no option. You just have to go where you have to go. And you have to stay there. You have to stay there, and commit yourself to just be there. And that's such a stark teaching. Then Gurudev said, whatever happens, you cannot complain. You cannot complain. So we're in this path where we look to our Guru who said, you cannot complain, you have to make things work, and you have no option. In such a beautiful practice that they've given to us, So this means that we have astita samyak. We have to practice this perfectly. And if we do, then we both the karma yogis and the karma sannyasis, both paths then will lead to purity of mind and then the attainment of knowledge. So they're both going to lead to that if practiced perfectly. So don't look at it as pritak. Don't look at it as this person is doing this and that person is doing that. No, how do we view people is that all people here, at least I can speak for, are sincerely on a spiritual quest, are sincerely there to better themselves, to improve themselves, and to seek the truth. That in itself is such a beautiful thing. And everyone should go according to the pace of their mind. Be truthful to what is in our minds and walk at that pace. And Gurudev said, walk slow, but don't take a step back. That's how you walk. You walk, but don't take a step back. And therefore, one gets established. Upayoho indate phalam. Right? Now, a question might come. See, for karma sannyas, the prerequisite is one will have to have gone through karma yoga. So one cannot take karma sannyasa without going through karma yoga. One has to perform intense karma yoga. In fact, this ashrama from brahmacharya to sannyasa is so beautiful because we have to also engage in karma yoga. And I remember one Swamini once, I met her and she said, do you know what the color yellow means? And so how we were explained is like, the sun and knowledge and light. So I just kept quiet. And she looked at me, she said, it means taxi. It means taxi. Whenever they call you, you go. And I said, very good. That's very good advice. It's very good advice that this means taxi. It means that we have to be here to serve, and that's just it. And whenever we are called, we have to go. We cannot think about anything else. And so I kept that in my mind. What a beautiful teaching. So before one enters karma sannyasa, the prerequisite is karma yoga, intense karma yoga. So much karma yoga, so much that we forget ourselves also, that kind of karma yoga. And so now one clarification I will answer here, then I will explain one point. It is the same as pravritti and nivritti. Pravritti means engaging in action. Nivritti means withdrawing from action. So in the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, in the introduction, in the bhashya or the commentary, Adi Shankaracharya says there are these two paths. Pravritti, engage in action. Nivritti, you withdraw from action. It's exactly the same thing. A question comes, for a karma yogi, so for a karma sannyasi, have to go through karma yoga. No choice, have to go through. For a karma yogi, does one have to go through karma sannyas? That's a question. For a karma yogi, does one have to go through karma sannyas? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. But the amount of time varies. A karma yogi, it doesn't mean that you have to go through this taking orange clothes and all of that. What it means here is that a karma yogi has to take a period of withdrawal from society and seek and solely focus on this knowledge through Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasana. It has to happen. Now, for how much time? That depends on the purity of mind. So for one whose mind is very pure, then less time in this kind of sannyasa where one withdraws and exclusively pays attention to this knowledge, focuses on this knowledge. If purity of mind is less, then more time. Why is this karma sannyasa necessary? This period of withdrawal and intensely focusing is because it gives the knowledge a chance to become very deep. And so very beautifully we have this Vedanta Sadhaka course in Chinmay International Foundation. So those who are, let's say, above 35, I think it's 60 or 65, I'm not sure. But there is a period of 1 year where you can stay in the ashram and intensely just focus on that. There's a very beautiful type of sannyas, karma sannyas. But as I said, for grahastha, one of the best times is vanaprastha ashram. Vanaprastha ashram, because then your mind is free from all these duties which one feels that they have to do, which is to get the, make sure the children are married and have children and are well settled and all of that. So this is the thing. What if a karma yogi does not take this period of sannyasa, withdrawal from activity? And as I said, the time varies. It's not that you have to take 1 year, 2 years. It depends on how much time is required. What if a karma yogi does not take this period of withdrawal and intensely focusing on teaching? What happens is the knowledge becomes superficial. So our Vedanta is, I learned Vedanta, but still I'm just feeling like, I am not getting it. I learned Vedanta, but I'm still doubting whether I am liberated or not. I learned Vedanta, but I still am having a hard time dealing with people. This but will come. Why? Because the knowledge is still at a superficial stage. If the knowledge becomes very deep, there is no but. I learned Vedanta. Full stop. I learned Vedanta means that the one who learned Vedanta is also gone. That Vedanta is also gone. I alone remains. So this is the path. This is the path prescribed by Sri Krishna. Now, let us see the 5th verse. Yat sankhye prapyate sthanam.
Yat sankhye prapyate sthanam.
Tad yogairapi gamyate.
Tad yogairapi gamyate.
Ekam sankyam cha yogam cha.
Ekam sankyam cha yogam cha.
Yah pashyati sa pashyati.
Yah pashyati sa pashyati.
Yat sankhye prapyate sthanam. Tad yogairapi gamyate. Ekam sankyam cha yogam cha. Yah pashyati sa pashyati. So again, now he is expounding or touching upon the last verse, the 4th verse. What is he saying? Yat, that which is sankhyehi prapyate, that which is reached or attained by sankhyehi. Sankhyehi, the karma sannyasis, that sthanam, that place, tat yogairapi gamyate, that also is attained by the karma yogis. Ekam sankyam cha yogam cha. And that who yaha pashyati sa pashyati, the one who sees, yaha pashyati, the one who sees that sankhya, this karma sannyas and this karma yoga are one, that alone sees, that person alone sees, right? So again here, that place which is reached by the Sankhyans. Here, the karma sannyasis who are attempting to be jnanis, attempting to gain knowledge, is also reached by the karma yogis, and the one who sees this, Sankhya and Yoga as one, is one who really sees. So again, both of them will lead to the attainment of knowledge. And as I said, just to reiterate that karma sannyasi has to pass through karma yoga, has to pass through for the attainment of knowledge. At the same time, the karma yogi has to pass through some amount of karma sannyasa to attain knowledge. So in that way, both of them are really the same. Both of them are really the same. And there's a beauty to both of them. There's a beauty to both of them. The beauty of our Shastra said, if you feel that this karma yoga path is for you, if there's still these desires, if there's still this want to experience the world, take the path of karma yoga. If one feels that they want to sort of just focus on this and they're not so much interested in the world anymore, take to karma sannyasa. And mind you, both are required. The sannyas ashrama is required and the grahastha ashrama is required. Because it is the grahastha ashrama, after all, that sustains sannyas ashrama, right? It's the grahastha ashrama that provides for the needs, the shelter, the house, etc. for the sannyas ashrama. And at the same time, it's the sannyas ashrama that provides the knowledge and the teaching to the grahastha ashrama. So the one who's able to see that really everyone, in whatever path they are these spiritual seekers. Everybody is striving for the self, and that in itself is beautiful. So the one who is able to see this oneness, that person sees, right? That person alone sees. There's one clarification here. Can you please clarify, is vanaprastha after grahastha the route towards karma sannyasa yoga, or is it the same as karma sannyasa yoga? Okay. In karma sannyasa yoga, is there dropping of nitya and naimittika karmas? In vanaprastha, is there dropping of nitya and naimittika karmas? Right. So in vanaprastha after grahastha, it is the route to karma sannyasa yoga. It is the route to karma sannyasa yoga, right? Because vanaprastha, slowly, you don't let go right away. In householder life, you don't let go right away. You cannot drop right away. Slowly, it has to be done slowly. So what happens from grahastha to vanaprastha, there is a transition there. There's a transition where slowly one lets go of things. What do you let go of? Let go of all unnecessary social obligations. I invited you, you invited me, you did this for me, I did this for you. Let go of all those unnecessary social obligations. And also the nature of the nitya and naimittika karmas, they're still there. Nitya meaning the daily duties, and naimittika karmas, the obligatory duties, they're still there, but they're of a different nature. A vanaprastha doesn't anymore need to be a parent to the child as before, just a guide and an advisor. So the nitya karma is very different. It's as a guide and an advisor. This is the vanaprastha stage. And the naimittika, or the obligatory duties, are very minimal. You're not going to every single thing. You're not obligated to go to every single thing, only what is absolutely required. So that vanaprastha is a transition. And then from there, sannyasa means you let go of everything. You let go of everything. Now, even those nitya and naimittika karmas, you let go of. So vanaprastha is a transition. Then it goes to karma sannyasa yoga. Next, in karma sannyasa yoga, is there a dropping of nitya and naimittika karmas? Yes. In karma sannyasa yoga, the main duty is shravana, mananam, nididhyasana, the pursuit of the self. So for karma sannyasi, their family duties have dropped. They have dropped. They're not anymore responsible for that. But yes, we do see special cases, even in our dimension, where we have swamis, and they, let's say they are the eldest son. They are the eldest son and the swamis, and the parents are ill, or there's nobody to help them. Then the swami stays with the parents. We also have that, because that is a special circumstance. So there are some special circumstances for that. Sannyasi also has to drop the naimittika karmas. They cannot go to weddings and birthday parties and celebrations and all of these things. Because then where will they have time to study and dwell on the truth if they're always out socializing? So they cannot be part of all of that. In fact, I was reading this sannyasa, this book on sannyasa. There's so many rules. There's so many rules. One has to avoid all kinds of worldly things that will make their mind extroverted. They have to just solely keep their mind in what will help them in their spiritual pursuit. So it's a strict discipline. So I hope now this clarifies. But again, as I said, you will see exceptions even in the life of like our Adi Shankaracharya ji. He had taken sannyasa, but still he went to do the final rites of his mother. And he had done that because there is nobody else to do it, right? There is nobody else to do it, so he has to step in. So as I said, even that Swamiji, the oldest son of the family, there's nobody there to take care of his parents, so he has to step in. So there are some things that are allowed in our Shastra if such circumstances arise. If such circumstances arise. Because remember, the first teaching of Shastra is Matra Devo Bhava, Pitra Devo Bhava. So that still holds true. Okay. Now, we will touch upon verse 6. Let's touch upon verse 6. So I hope now this vision of karma sannyasa and karma yoga, I hope that is clear. We just have to make sure that we are perfectly practicing whatever we need to practice, and that wherever we are, that is a place for us. To always remember this, wherever we are, that is a place for us. We are there because there is a great reason, and the only thing we need to do is use that place for our evolution. Don't use it for anything else. Our current birth, our current situation, our current place, surrounding, is to be used for our growth and evolution, and not for our pleasure. This we must make sure. Okay. Okay. Now one more thing I'll clarify here. Vasana Kshaya and Manonasha achieved in Karma Sannyasa so as to become Jivan Mukta. Okay. Now, see, as I explained to you, there are two kinds of sannyas. Here we are talking about Vividisha Sannyasa, which again means the renunciation of the seeker. So when we talk about Vividisha Sannyasa, the renunciation of the seeker, the main practice of this seeker is Tattva Jnana. Tattva Jnana means to pursue the truth, gain knowledge. That's the main practice. And the side practices will be what is called Vasana Kshaya. Vasana Kshaya means the reduction or the thinning of the vasanas through practices like Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raja Yoga, and Manonasha. Manonasha means Samadhi Abhyasa, the practice of Samadhi, of making the mind quiet. The main practice for a Vividisha sannyasi, the sannyasi we're talking about here, is the pursuit of knowledge. When one now gains knowledge and they take what is called Vidvat sannyasa, the renunciation of the knower, of one who already has knowledge, they sort of isolate themselves from society. They sort of isolate themselves from society. They sort of just let go of things. They may teach, they may not teach. They may live alone. They may live in society, but they're quite isolated in their own way, and they're focusing now not on gaining knowledge because they've already gained knowledge. They're focusing on intense samadhi, what we call manonasha. So they're focused on just quietening their mind, and vasana kshaya, reducing their vasanas mainly by meditation, because at this point they've gone through all the practices of karma yoga, bhakti yoga, and all that. So mainly by meditation, they are thinning out their vasanas. So this is the example that I gave is like Swami Tapovan Maharaj, right? He is not engaged. He is a sannyasi, but still he kind of withdraws himself and he stays in Uttarkashi. And if people come, he teaches. People want to know, he teaches. He doesn't have like a set thing that I'll teach. If people come, he teaches, because he believes that this knowledge should go to people who are really, really deserving. And the rest of the day, he sits and he's just engaged in reveling in the divine. One Vidvat Sannyasi we can also look into is Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi Ji. He doesn't take ochre robes or anything like that, because Vidvat Sannyasi doesn't mean ochre robes. It means that you're just isolating yourself to just revel in that truth. And Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi Ji was that way also. Very spontaneous kind of life. Yeah, and if people ask questions and everything, he will teach, he will give lessons, but he is just there, ever reveling in the truth. So these are Vidvat Sannyasis, that they are just reveling in the truth. That's all they're doing. They're not out there to gain knowledge anymore. They're firmly rooted in it, or simply just reveling. And as I said again, the beauty of Sanatana Dharma is that it allows for all of this. It allows for all of this. That somebody who just wants to seek the divine and revel in the divine, you're permitted to do so. The whole society supports you. And that is one of the greatest things, I think, of Sanatana Dharma, is that everybody supports the seeker of truth in whichever form, way they're in. I won't start 6 because we only have a few minutes left. But yeah, I think we will stop here for today. So main message for all of us is astitaha samyak. Whatever we've taken, karma yoga, karma sannyasa, practice to perfection. And that in itself will lead us to this purity of mind by which we naturally withdraw and seek the truth and get established in it. And that is the sole purpose of life. Don't forget that. Okay, say a closing prayer. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. I have one announcement.